Hey everybody, it's Lynn Hayes here. I'm really glad that people are enjoying the video. That's been really exciting to see. So I'm going to try to keep doing it. I think my set needs to be enhanced, although I do see I have this nice light over my head. That's sunlight. It's not any kind of magic thing. But anyway, I hope to improve this format and improve the technology that I'm providing for you. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk a little bit about the astrology this week. Every week around this time on Monday, I write an article about where the planets are this week. And I have written it. It's going to come out. I wanted to write the video so I could put that link in the blog post. And I'll put the link to the blog post in the comments for the video as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the eclipse. It was last night. I hear it was fantastic. My husband woke up. He didn't wake me because at the time of the eclipse, there was a big cloud that covered it here where we are. So I missed it. But the Leo full moon, even without an eclipse, is generally a pretty big heart-opening event. Leo is the sign that rules the physical heart, and it has to do with the essential self, expressing ourself, finding ourself, establishing a sense of ourself, developing a healthy ego. These are all really important things for the Leo archetype. And with the full moon in Leo, the sun is in Aquarius, the moon is opposite the sun. It's the peak of the lunar cycle, as you probably know. So the moon in Leo, which yearns for an experience of the true self within, is opposite the polarity of the sun in Aquarius, which is detachment, transpersonalism. There's this sense of balancing who am I as an individual relative to my place in the collective. This was a particularly difficult week for me because a friend of mine died after a terrible accident, leaving his wife and his two young children. So I did write about that, and I hope that that will be of some help to anybody who's going through a crisis. That'll be on my blog. I'll post the link also to that post. But it happened before the eclipse. And eclipses have been tied somewhat to events like this that are kind of big and huge and life-changing. But of course, they don't always bring devastation and tragedy. A lot of times they just bring, like the eclipse when the moon is in Leo, can just bring up a huge heart opening, which is what I felt myself the days before this eclipse. So the other things that are going on right now, this week we have the moon is still in Leo as I make this video. Mars in the chart is in its own sign of Aries. Mars is the planet of our drive and our desire, our aggressive force. Mars helps us to declare our intentions. It motivates, it inspires us. When Mars is in Aries, it's particularly strong. But right now, it's squared by Saturn. A square is a challenging aspect. Saturn is a planet of limitation and doubt and hard work and discipline. So when Saturn squares Mars, there can be some frustration. Mars in Aries is ready to go. This is what I want. This is what I want to make happen. And then Saturn comes along and says, oh, sorry, it's not the right time. So there could be some frustration right now. This dynamic is embedded in this eclipse chart. So it will stay in effect for the next few days. The other thing that we have going on this week, starting tomorrow, Venus is aligned with Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius. So one time I wrote about this dynamic in my monthly report, which you can subscribe to if you want. This dynamic, Venus conjunct Jupiter, I think I wrote in there that if you wanted to play the lottery, this would be a good day to do it. And a client of mine wrote and said, I played the lottery and I won $100. So this is not, I'm not advising you to play the lottery because you might be lucky, you might not. But Venus conjunct Jupiter, this is a pretty lucky time. So I'm going to say today, the 21st, tomorrow, the 22nd, probably the 23rd as well. So it's a bountiful time. It's a time of love and connection, and it's generally a positive time. I expect that this is probably going to be favorable for the stock market because Venus is the planet that also rules wealth and money. And with Jupiter conjunct Venus, there's some optimism and confidence, which helps to drive the market. The next few days, there's a lot of Mercury aspects. Mercury square Uranus. Mercury is going to change signs. It's going to enter Aquarius. And so there's likely to be a lot of intellectual activity, a lot of mental activity. And then on the 25th, Mars, which remember is in Aries where it's strong and powerful, will be opposite Jupiter. That's generally a time when we tend to go off the rails with our optimism and excitement and our desire to do things, because Jupiter is very expansive, and when it interacts with Mars, we can have too much of a good thing. So watch for that. I would say the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, be a little bit more careful maybe than you would otherwise be. It's not maybe the best time to make a decision unless you have to, because you might be driven by this eagerness and this enthusiasm that might then burst because Saturn is still involved there. And I just want to talk for just a second. I don't want to go on for too long, but a lot of people are concerned about when the moon goes void of course. And there's a certain amount of fear that's been propagated around this. The moon is void of course when it's about to enter a sign, to leave one sign for another, and it's already made the last aspect or angle to another planet. And this was originated in the field of what we call horary, which is where you cast a chart for a question. And when the moon is void of course, it's not a positive influence for that question. But in our day-to-day world, I've actually tested this with online shopping, which I do quite a bit of on Amazon and other places. So I tested my purchases and I made, after the fact, I didn't do it before, that would skew the research. After the fact, I went and looked to see when I ordered something, when the moon was void of course, did I have to return it? Did it break down? There was really no correlation. And I've observed this over the years, and it's not, I think there's other things that are more important to think about. I would advise you to not worry about the void of course moon, or the void moon, as we sometimes call it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and send me your advice, your tips, anything regarding YouTube. I would be glad to hear it. So thanks so much. Until next time.